All right, so today we're talking about how to get leads this holiday season. So if you are like most agents, we know that you guys are not, because if you were like most agents, you would not be here, because this starts our time when we are really starting to fade away, when we're really starting to say, it's the holidays, let's take a vacation, let's take a break. We don't want to do that. We want to lean in. We want to make sure that we are getting the most out of what we can, getting the most out of our leads. So today I want to talk to you about some like hands-on tactile ways to actually get leads. There are some really good ideas in here. I had some ideas that were off the dome, and then I researched and did a lot more. And there are just some good little nuggets to take away. Now, I'm gonna be sharing with you a bunch of stuff that may be too high level for you. And if it is, that's okay. Take what you can and get rid of the rest, because some of this is gonna be like, oh, I really wanna do it, but then you get into the weeds of actually how to get it done and don't ever actually do it. So I wanna make sure that you're taking what you can. So when we're talking about this, make sure to take something that you can implement. I would say take 3 things that you can implement out of today's talk. So all right, so we're going to talk about the market of the moment. We keep talking about that, and it's different every time, every workshop that we have. So the market of the moment shifts, the market of the moment changes. And so we're going to talk about this market of the moment and how we can capture people's attention in this market. And if it's like, is it even really a good time? We want to make sure that we're telling people honest, truthful things. So is this a good time to buy? Is this a good time to sell? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to dive into some prospecting and marketing and how we can take advantage of the holidays. We're going to talk about ways to actually build your database. The holidays are such a great time to really build that database, to make sure if you're missing phone numbers or email addresses or actual physical addresses, we can get that in during the holidays. And so I have a few tips and tricks of how to get that done. And then we are going to command our holidays. We're going to dive into command. We're going to do a little bit of a higher level view just because for time's sake, we're not going to be able to dive in deep, but it's going to be helpful for you to see what can we do with command and how can we utilize it to make sure that you're making the most of these holidays and of your database. And then finally, we are going to see how we win. All right, so the market of the moment, we talked about this. Every market shift, every time we have, real estate is seasonal. So every time we have a seasonal shift, there is a market of the moment. And so right now we are seeing that buyers are the ones who are benefited because they are able to get a deal. But we also need to talk to sellers. So these are going to be things that we can talk to our sellers about. Here are benefits to sellers about selling this time of year. So selling in the winter is usually for very motivated sellers. So you want to go and find the people who are divorced, going through a divorce. You want to find people who are, somebody might have died in their family or they've died. And so maybe the house is in a trust and figure out how to do that. There's always death and divorce and job loss and all of that kind of stuff. And so when we talk about being there, to really benefit somebody, this is actually something that is going to be very helpful for them. If you come and you understand their position, you understand what's going on, you can talk to them in a way that's not like salesy and gross. You can talk to them in a way that is like a normal person saying, hey, I totally understand going through job loss. Who hasn't gone through job loss before? This is hard. This is scary. This is difficult. You're moving out of state. So whatever it is, it's usually for very motivated sellers. So we want to get to the heart of that motivation. What exactly is it that is motivating them? And this is going to be different for everybody. But just the idea is that, somebody who's just looking to sell because they want to take advantage of the interest rates, that is not going to be happening right now, because most of the sellers who we're looking at right now, most of the average single family home owners are going to have a really low interest rate, 2-3%. And we're trying to say, hey, it's time to sell at 7%. Who's going to want to do that? And so these are going to be people who are motivated in and of themselves on their own. It's not going to be something that you're going to have to convince. So one of the major benefits of this market is that there is very little inventory. Real estate is seasonal. We always talk about that a lot of times in the winter, there's going to be a lot less inventory. There's a lot less business going on, and make sure that we're not using that as a limiting belief, because there are a lot of agents who are not doing business because they have that thought. And there are a lot of agents who are killing it because they're picking up the slack from the agents who are taking vacations. So there is very little inventory, so your seller will have the majority of the market share. So when we talk about that, we have to understand that and be able to communicate that to our sellers. We want to make sure they understand that there's going to be little inventory. So when a buyer comes, they're not going to have their pick of the litter. They're going to have their choice of 4 houses on the block. So we want to make sure that they understand that it's definitely limited inventory makes for a better sale for your seller. So we also want to acknowledge that everybody thinks, hey, things pick up in the springtime. Yeah, sure. Waiting until the spring might get them a higher price, but there will usually be more inventory in the spring, meaning more competition. So the same idea of what we're talking about with very little inventory, there's less competition. If they waited until the spring, there's more inventory, meaning more competition. All right, so let's talk about, that was the benefit to the sellers. Let's talk now about the benefit to the buyers. Buyers will likely be able to have more negotiating power because most sellers are very motivated. So just like we talked about, the only people selling right now are super motivated. So buyers have a little bit more of, they're in the driver's seat a little bit more. And so we're able to get them better deals. We're able to negotiate on their behalf. We're able to be a little bit more powerful and in that driver's seat because those sellers want to sell. And especially when you see some houses that have been sitting on the market a little bit longer, we're able to really go and say, hey, let's get a deal. Now's the time to get a deal. I was lead generating right before this, and that's the text I was sending out. Now is the time to get a deal. So if you're looking to make a deal, to work a deal, to figure out a deal, now is that time. We want to make sure that we are helping our buyers understand that and that we understand that. The interest rates are higher today, which means less of a buyer pool, so less competition. So when we saw interest rates go super low a year ago, there were buyers everywhere. And what happened? It was so hard for people to get in under contract. It was so difficult because there were literally 45, 55, 65 offers on a single property. And it was 100, 200,000 over asking. And so now we're not seeing that today. We are not seeing 100 or 200,000 over asking. If we're in a multiple counter situation, maybe you have 1, 2 other buyers trying to get this house. Now keep in mind that because there's such low inventory, there still are multiple buyers for each home, which is why it's still technically a seller's market. However, things are shifting, and that's why buyers are able to be a little bit more in that driver's seat, because there are going to be houses that don't have any offers and that sit on the market for months. And so when those houses sit on the market for months, those sellers get really hungry. Those sellers are saying, I'll take any offer. It's $100,000 less, no problem, bring it to me. So they're more in the driver's seat. They're going to have less competition because there are less buyers who are wanting to buy, because as you're seeing, if you have buyer clients, there's not much, well, there are a lot of buyers who could have bought last year and are now priced out of the market because of interest rates. So because interest rates are higher today, there's less of a buyer pool. Now, remember, I might say this later, but keep in mind that if your buyers are trying to wait for interest rates to go down, they will drop again because, as things start to normalize, interest rates will drop. And guess what that means though? More buyers will come to the market, right? So that means we have more buyers coming to the market, supply and demand. We have low supply still, demand is high. That's going to make housing prices go up and up and up. It's super important to understand these things so that you can talk to your sellers and your buyers to be able to meet them where they're at. So if they're saying, yeah, they're pre-approved, but they want to wait until interest rates go down. Hey, we already had a case study of what it looked like when interest rates went down. They still were able to potentially get their loan funded, but that's if they got their offer accepted. And that's if they didn't have to go $100,000 over asking. So if they want to get back in that market, I don't think so. That was not fun for buyers. We want to make sure that our buyers understand that now is a better time for them to buy, because now is when they'll be in the driver's seat. And then if buyers, this is where we talked about this. If buyers wait for interest rates to drop, more buyers will come to the market and drive up prices again. And so our buyers can see that what happened when that happened a year ago. Everybody's heard about that. The news commented on it. Everywhere was talking about it. And so we can point them back to that, and we can say, do you want to wait? Or do you want to wait until interest rates go up? Because remember what happened with interest rates last year when they went up? Nobody was able to get into a house because competition was so high. There were buyers everywhere. So keep in mind some of these narratives, some of these stories, because in every single market, there is a market of the moment. In every single market, there's an opportunity to buy and there's an opportunity to sell. And Gary Keller always says, and I totally agree, it's always a good time to buy or sell as long as you're comfortable with the payments. And so that's the beauty of real estate. We don't have to say, do you have $1 million sitting in your bank account? You're able to go and get it leveraged and leverage that debt to be able to afford something that you would never have been able to afford before. So we want to help them understand that. We want to help them understand the market of the moment. And we as agents need to make sure that we're understanding that as well. All right, so we talked about the market of the moment. Let's talk about prospecting and marketing. Okay, so one of the things that I do, and you guys probably see some of these come through, is I do lots of email newsletters. So we're going to talk about email newsletters and marketing ideas. So we want to make sure that we're sending that out there, because if nothing else, email marketing is brand awareness. And so when even if they say Brittany Hannon, delete, they're first seeing Brittany Hannon. So we want to make sure that our people are seeing this and that we are top of mind. One of the things we've talked about was we cannot control when the buyer is ready to buy, but we can absolutely control that we are top of mind when they make that decision to buy. So we want to make sure we're top of mind. So one of the things that we can do, so here are just some ideas of what you can do to send out. So holiday decorating and recipe ideas. We always want to make sure that we're sending fun things, because that's the kind of stuff that gets opened. So of course, everybody's interested in real estate. Everybody wants to know about interest rates. Everybody wants to know about all this stuff that's going on. If they didn't, we wouldn't have, a whole network of HGTV dedicated to it and shows that come out constantly about selling Sunset and all of this kind of stuff. So people want to know. People love real estate. People love seeing houses. People love hearing the stories, but they also need a little fun thrown in. So holiday decorating and recipe ideas. This is going to be a really good thing to just send out in an email newsletter. One of the things that I do when I do an email newsletter, and I'm not going to go into this, I'll just give you a little pro tip. I create a thumbnail from Canva, and then I put it into my newsletter. And by clicking on that thumbnail, it takes them directly to a whole separate website. So it's not connected with my website at all, which is fine with me. I don't mind if I send them and direct them to a whole different website, because the whole idea is they come back to mine. When they say, what was that holiday decorating idea? What was that again? Oh, Brittany sent it to me. Let me go see. So that's what I want it to start from me, and then I can send them somewhere else. That's okay. So I don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. I'm not having to write all this stuff about holiday decorating and recipe ideas. I just find something that I like, that I find interesting, and I send them that way. So it's all of these things we're talking about. I'm going to do basically the same thing. I send my clients in my newsletter to that other website. Sending a holiday movie guide. There are all kinds of movies that come out, so you want to make sure that you're, something fun. Again, a map of houses with holiday lights in your area. When we talk about establishing yourself in your farm area, establishing yourself as that local expert, one of the main things you want to establish yourself in that way is talking about fun stuff. And so if you have a map of holiday lights in your area, if you know about all the events going on, which we'll talk about later, these are things that's going to establish you as that neighborhood expert. So you want to make sure that you are really sending all these things out so that you're establishing yourself and having that be that hyper local, a map of tiny little neighborhoods that establishes you as that farm expert. And so nobody else is going to be sending this kind of stuff out. That is the truth. All right, local holiday events guide, just like we said, become that expert in your local market. And then here's one, tips on maintaining home for winter months. If you're like, I do not care about decorating and recipe ideas, I don't want to send anything like that. Great, send tips on maintaining their home for the winter months. Now we live in California. There's not that much that we do. We don't have to deal with snow and sleet and rain and hail. However, we do have to deal with things like maybe they want to get their windows cleaned, or we also have to deal with things like wind. These are things that we can say, hey, get your gates reinforced, or did your gate break with these crazy winds? I have a great contractor or handyman or whatever. Keep those vendors on hand so that when you send some of these kind of ideas, say, come back to me. I am your real estate expert. No matter what, come back to me with your real estate questions. Even if it's, hey, my gate broke, how do I get it fixed? Come to me. I want to be the first person that they come to. And then number 6, what's the last one? Oh, a gift guide. This is a fun one, another fun one. A gift guide for partners, parents, pets. Now, if you, this is another just side way to make some money. If you have any kind of influence in any other way, so on social media, anything like that, you can become an affiliate for some of these different ad services. So if you wanted to do Amazon or different places that you like to get gifts or different things, a lot of times they have affiliate marketing programs that you can sign up for. So you can send a gift guide and then say, click on this or use my code or whatever, and it'll take them there. They do all their shopping and then you get a percentage of that. So that's just a little blurb. Again, remember I was saying this is going to be, some of this is going to be high level for us, and we do not, if that's not your thing, throw it out, don't listen to it. That is not something that you have to do. That's just another way to make some money if you already have some other type of influence. So keep that in mind, but gift guides. All right, holiday events. Holiday events are really a good way to be able to, again, establish yourself in the community. You want to make sure that you're saying, you're not saying I do all of Southern California, because you don't want to be the person who does all of Southern California. You want to be hyper focused. You want to be hyper local. And so you want to talk about the holiday events, and you want to connect yourself and collab with them in some way. So we'll talk about that. So for local holiday events, you can share them on your social media, and maybe you can plan a meetup there. Planning a meetup at a holiday event is a fun way to do maybe a client event without you having to plan it and schedule it. So for instance, like there's all kinds of holiday stuff going on. So there's like boat parades if you're by a harbor, there's Christmas tree lightings everywhere. There's all kinds of fun stuff. And so if you say, hey, I want to get together and I want to give you a gift. So come on this day and let's meet up. That again establishes you as that partner and then helps them to get out there into their community too. They're seeing you in their community. And so they're understanding, okay, you're here, you live where I am. But if you are selling houses 2 hours away from you, you're not going to be in those communities. You don't want to be in those communities. You want to be where you are. So establish that farm and become that hyper local expert. And the way to do that is by attending events and scheduling some of this stuff. If you plan a meetup at an event, it kind of puts you in their minds as like an event sponsor, an event coordinator. And so when that's the case, you again become an expert in their minds. When the reality is you had nothing to do with this, you just attended. So get those local events, share them on your social media. And even if you just say like, hey, I'm going to be coming to this event and let me know if you're coming, that kind of thing. And then if somebody says, we're going to be there, then say, great, let's meet up. I would love to do that. So even if it's literally one person, you're establishing yourself. But if you're sharing it on social media, they're going to see that and they're going to say, oh, Brittany, she loves going to Channel Islands Harbor. And so that's, the area that she's in is Oxnard Beaches, and they're going to see that. Open houses. Open houses are a fantastic way to really do up a holiday event. It doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be fancy, but if you do a twilight open house, which is not difficult to do now that the time has changed, serve some spiked eggnog, serve some hot cookies. This is going to be something to draw people in. And again, if you have an open house and invite your old clients, your past clients, they're going to see you as that neighborhood expert. They're going to see you as working. They're going to see you as doing stuff. And all you had to do was buy some spiked eggnog. It's not that difficult, but it puts you in their mind as a neighborhood and area expert. So make sure that when you schedule out your calendars, you are definitely putting in open houses, and make it some twilight open houses, some fun stuff. This is definitely something that most agents right now, like I said, they're taking time off. They are on vacation. So you're going to be able to get these open houses because they don't want them. They don't want to do them, but they still want to make sure that they are holding open houses for their clients. And so they're going to definitely be happy to have you host an open house. So when you do that, it's always good to try and do it at a vacant home. Hopefully it's staged. That makes it really nice. Otherwise, just try and get any open house you can and do this. This idea is really a good one.
Brittany, I have a question.
Yes.
Is there any type of liability serving alcohol at these twilight open houses that we should be aware of?
You know, we have E&O insurance and the different types of insurances. You should also always carry like an umbrella policy or something, but people do, you know, like champagne, mimosas, all that kind of stuff at open houses all the time. And so if this is a concern of yours, talk to your broker and see, you know, where the protection is, but we are protected in some ways. Now, if they, you know, like if we're pouring them drinks, it might be a good idea to say, hey, can I get you an Uber to drive home? But you want to make sure, but you are, yes, serve responsibly. But you don't usually hold the liability for that. But talk to your broker if it is something you're concerned about.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. So collabing or collaboration with a local theater company or restaurants provide a discount code. A lot of the times, if you go in and talk to like local theater companies have a lot of fun community things happening during the holidays. And so if you go in, they already have codes that they give. They already have discount codes. So if you just have one that's connected to you, then it's pretty easy to get those discount codes. And so if you just ask them if you could do a discount code, if you could collaborate with them in some way, let them know, hey, I want to bring more people to your business. I want to help with that. And I would love for it to be, you know, a win-win situation. A lot of times they're willing to do that. Same thing with restaurants. Restaurants often will give you some gift cards and things like that. Now, sometimes they are, you know, they would much rather give it to to donations of a nonprofit or something like that. But it never hurts to ask. And then you start getting in connection with these restaurant owners and managers. So you want to make sure that you are doing some kind of collab with them, because remember, it's a win-win. You're bringing them business too. So it's nice to be able to provide this and offer this. And then pop-up holiday markets. Host a booth or host the pop-up holiday market or get a booth and bring some treats. So getting a booth at a pop-up holiday market is pretty easy. When you find there are a lot that go on and you just need to reach out and say, hey, can I get a booth? How does that work? You just talk to the organizer of it. And if there is no organizer, organize one yourself. They're pretty easy to put on if you have a backyard or if you have a client's backyard. A lot of people are willing to do these pop-up holiday markets, and you can sell cookies and you can sell gifts and you can sell trinkets and you can sell all kinds of stuff. And then you're there essentially as a sponsor. So this would be something that's a little more work if you are hosting it, but if this is something that interests you, people have gotten a lot of success out of this kind of stuff. So it's definitely something to look into if this is intriguing to you. All right, so now we talked about market of the moment. We talked about a little bit of prospecting and marketing. Now we're gonna dig into building your database. So we're gonna take some of those ideas and say, okay, these are great, fun ideas. How do we build our database with that? All right, so the first one, holiday cards. This is something we talk about all the time because it's kind of like, this is the no-brainer. You can get the addresses of your SOI and add them to a neighborhood nurture. Make sure that you're taking it that step further and adding them to a smart plan. You want to make sure that you get that address and then add them to something of value. Everybody loves the neighborhood nurtures because everybody likes to keep in the know of what's going on in their neighborhood. Even if they're not looking to sell, even if they have no desire, everybody, if there is a sign that goes up on the side of the yard or, down the street, people always are saying, ooh, how much is that? How much is that for sale? All the time. People are nosy. We have nosy neighbors. They want to understand what is for sale around them. The neighborhood nurturers give them that. So when you have an address, make sure that you are taking it a step further and putting them on the neighborhood nurture. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we dive into command, but I just wanted to throw that out there first. Okay, so raffles. Raffles are a really good way to get your emails. So this one specifically, we're talking about event swag. Connect with a local event and have a raffle they can enter if they submit their contact info. So it doesn't have to be a local event. If this is somebody that you are, or a restaurant or something like that you really like for instance, if I'm gonna say, hey, there's a harbor boat parade, come meet me at the harbor boat parade, and I'm gonna get, 3 different gift cards from 3 different restaurants, and I'm gonna raffle them off. So I might be paying for that, and that's definitely marketing costs, so it's tax deductible if you came to the workshop last week or 2 weeks ago. So in talking about that, hey, it's tax deductible, definitely a good way to spend your money. But if you're raffling something off, then you automatically have something that people want. So if you say, hey, you're in this area and there's this great restaurant that I love, here's a $100 gift card that I have. You've seen this in social media, probably, where people tag you because it says, tag 3 of your friends and be entered for a chance to win. It's the same thing where you're saying, give me your email and be entered for a chance to win. We'll talk a little bit more about how, like the logistics of how to do that. But the idea is having a raffle so that if they submit their phone number or their email or if you're trying to grow your social media, their social media page, whatever it is, make sure that you are getting something so that you can raffle something off. So make it something of value, something fun, something exciting. So if it is connected with the harbor boat parade, then maybe it's going to be something with like a little mini boat involved, or maybe some part of the event that they get for free. If it's like entrance to some fun holiday thing, maybe they get free entrance. You're raffling off 4 tickets. Like, for instance, if maybe it's a free Christmas tree at the local Christmas tree lot, something like that, where I'm just coming up with ideas off the top of my head. But whatever it is, if you spend a little bit of money on that, you're going to get it back threefold, because you're going to be having that brand awareness. You're going to be able to get the contact info. You're going to be able to put those people on smart plans and start connecting with them in a way that you never had before. And these people are sometimes your SOI, sometimes not. So you just want to make sure that you are continuing to really spread the word in lots of fun, unique ways. And then finally, create a holiday guide. This is something that we'll talk a little bit more about. Create a downloadable guide that people can download with an email address. So you tell them, best ways to decorate your home when you're getting ready to sell. I don't know, that would be a weird thing to put for the holidays, but that would be very niche. But something like that, some kind of downloadable guide that they only can download it when they give you their email address. So again, it's another way to capture their information, but you're providing something of value. So these holiday guides can be very easy. They don't need to be a lot of work. You can say the 10 best gifts to give a real estate agent, 10 best gifts to give somebody who just bought a new house, 10 best gifts to give, like somebody who is an investor. I don't know, that'd be random. But whatever it is, it's a way to capture people's email addresses. So they don't have to be difficult, don't have to be hard. You can create it on Canva, make it super easy for you, and then send it out. and collect email addresses. Again, we'll get a little bit deeper into how to do that, but without talking about the how, this is an idea of actually what to do. All right, so talking about the holiday guide. So this is just a random thing, 5 holiday tips for home buying. So let's go step by step. Number 1, we're gonna create the guide. So it's gonna be, if I'm doing this, I'm creating it in Canva. They're super easy, super, like user-friendly. So I like to do it there. And I'm gonna do a little bit of research and pull from different areas, and then I'm going to create the guide. So pretty easy, straightforward, that's what we're doing. Then we wanna push it in through social media and through newsletters. So any way that is basically clickable. So they need to be able to click on this. So if you're promoting it in social media, maybe you have a link in your bio, in your newsletters, they can click directly on it. So from there, we want it to link, whatever link you send them to, we want it to link to a Google form, which collects their contact info. So if you just go to your Google Drive and say, create new form, there is a template that says like, collect contact information or something like that. So you create this form that collects the contact info. So, and then you take that URL and just put it on your social media. So if you did a story and you said, hey, get the guide right now, you just put a link in your story and it links directly to this Google form. So this Google form now notifies you, hey, you got somebody who put their contact info in, and then you can from there go and send this tips for home buying or whatever your downloadable guide is, you can send that to them. And now you have their contact info. So now you put them into your database and you have a smart plan for them and all that kind of stuff. So, okay, so send the guide and add the contact to command. I'm not going to go into this, but one of the things that I like to do is I like to take this a step further to automate it a little bit more. And this is one of those things that is like, if this is too much, do not worry about it. You don't have to do this. But I've created a smart plan that's triggered by a tag. So maybe the tag is holiday downloadable guide. And then from that, it says, thanks for downloading our guide. Here is the guide. And I send the actual link to the guide. And then that puts them on a smart plan. So then it's triggering me for a quarterly call plan. Maybe it's triggering me to reach out to them for holiday stuff. Maybe I'm sending them a few more extra freebies about holiday stuff because that's what they're interested in. Maybe I send them a market update, but whatever it is, I'm putting them on my social media. Not my social media, a smart plan. But the way that I get them there is, personally, I use Zapier, which is a third-party app, and it connects from Google Form. It links Google Forms to command. So as soon as somebody puts their info in on Google Forms, I don't have to do anything. I can be asleep in the middle of the night and Zapier will say, oh, you got a form, you got something, you got whatever. It will automatically put them into my command, and based on what I've put in Zapier of what note to add or what tag to add, it will automatically add that tag. And so now automatically they're going on to that smart plan. So automatically, I don't have to do anything, but they're already added to this smart plan. So now as soon as they say, oh, that holiday guide looks cool, let me put my info in. Now, automatically, they're getting an email that says, oh, thanks for downloading my guide. I'm so glad that you're interested. Here is the link to your guide, your free guide. So I'm not going to get into Zapier. At the end, I see some comments. At the end of the slides and on your worksheet slide, it does have the spelling of it, Z-A-P-I-E-R, Zapier. I don't know if I'm saying it right. So again, that's higher level. And if you're like overwhelmed by the thought of that, it is unnecessary. You don't have to do that. But it is something that has saved me a lot of time and a lot of stress being like, oh my gosh, I'm at Disneyland and somebody wants this and I need to go add them to command and blah, blah, blah. Nope, I don't have to do anything. It takes care of it for me. Or if I'm in a meeting like this and I say, oh my gosh, I got a notification that somebody signed up, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to worry about it. I am automating all of it. So again, with these kind of workshops, what I'm telling you is what I actually do. So this kind of thing is doable. You just have to think outside of the box a little bit. So Zapier is free for like 3 zaps is what they call it, 3 or 5 or something. So if you go beyond that, then it costs money, and I don't know how much it costs, but it is also how I automate having my phone talk to Command and Command talk to my phone. So when I get a new lead in Command, it automatically goes into my phone. And when I get if I put a new contact into my phone, it automatically goes into Command. So there are, definitely very, very helpful ways that these things talk to each other and connect. All right, so we talked about how to build that database. Now we're going to talk about Command your holidays. So I'm actually going to jump into Command in a second. I want to show you what we're going to look at, but we're not going to spend too much time on this stuff. I just want you to know what you can do. So number one, you can schedule your social media posts. This was something actually that I never really did. And then I started doing it because I used to talk about third-party apps like Hootsuite and things like that, that you could schedule it, set it, and forget it and not have to worry about it. But again, you had a certain amount that were free or whatever, and then you had to pay. Well, I did not realize, or I never used it, or I don't know, whatever. I never did it. We have this on Command. And so this makes it so easy. You can, whatever social media you're linked to on Command, you're able to just post directly to that. So when you are having Thanksgiving with your family, when you're at Christmas with your family, you don't have to worry about posting. If maybe you want to post because you want to be in people's feeds because everybody's posting that day, but you don't want to take your time to do that stuff. Scheduling the social media posts are huge. Newsletter designs. I create my newsletters in Command. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. I'm going to show you today how to do that, because this newsletter, a lot of people are like, I don't like to use Command because they're whatever. It's very customizable. So like I told you, I use Canva for a lot of things, but I also use designs for a ton. And if you have something that you create outside of Command and you want to bring it in, so if I create something in Canva, if I save it as a PDF, I can now bring it into Command and make it editable. So that if I want to send something directly from Command, like my emails, it's editable and I can change anything. And that's what I do a lot of. Of course, our smart plans, I wanted to show you a few smart plans that we have on here that are going to be key this holiday season. Adding notes for your contacts. I'm not going to go into this because this is kind of self-explanatory. I just wanted to make sure that I'm pointing it out. Make sure that you're keeping notes for everything. So if you send them a Christmas card, if you talk to them about interest rates, if they come and you see them at a holiday event, whatever it is, make sure you're keeping notes in the contacts for Command, because you're going to get to the point where you have so many clients and so many contacts that you're like, do I know this person? Or is this a Facebook link? Like, how do I know this person? I have no idea. So you want to make sure that you have those notes saved in Command. So like I said, it's a no-brainer. You can go in and figure out the notes in Command if you just go to somebody's profile, click on notes, add those notes. And on the mobile app, super easy to do that too on the go. So I'm not going to go into that. I just wanted to point that out here. All right, and I want to ask you guys about how you use Command. So let's jump in here, and then I want to hear from you. I want to hear about some other ways that you do it. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and share my screen for Command. And in the meantime, I want to hear from you guys who uses Command in different ways. Doesn't have to be necessarily for the holidays, but just on a day-to-day basis, how do you use Command? What are some of your top tricks? So unmute, we want to hear it.
I use Command for a quarterly call plan. Everybody's in the quarterly call plan. Everybody's on the neighborhood nurture plan. I use it to add, like, for example, for Halloween, I added a Halloween smart plan. everybody. Also, I added everybody for a birthday plan. So then it sends out the I think the 6 touches or whatever. And I'm thinking to do like create a smart plan for the holiday, definitely. Yeah.
Good. Well, good. We'll talk a little bit about that. We only have 15 minutes left. This time flew by. So I want to show you a few of the things. Let's go to campaigns. So the first thing I want to show you is how to schedule those social media posts. So if I go to campaigns, the little megaphone over here, it's going to be up here in social posts. So I'm going to click on that, and then we can schedule them by saying, okay, we want to schedule it for, you can see, look, I already have one in here for Thanksgiving because I don't want to be bothered on Thanksgiving. I don't want to have to remember it. So if we want to schedule like one a week, that's kind of a static post. We can go on and we can say, okay, December 7th, I want to do a market update or something like that. First of all, I have Facebook and Instagram on here. I think you can also do Twitter, but I don't do Twitter, so I don't worry about that. And then you can write your content in here. And then, let's see. Then we pull, wait, how do I do this? Oh, here we go. We add media in this little button. Add media, and you can either browse your files from your computer. So if you have something on Canva that you've done, which is what I do a lot of, or you can browse your designs on in your design library. So like here is like a daylight savings clock, or if you wanted to do a just sold or, you know, something like that, that you wanted to put in here from your designs, you go in your template library and put that in. So if I put that in, we say, yep, looks good. And then it's going to add this in, and it's going to show you, it gives you a preview of what it looks like on Facebook and on Instagram. And then I can either, I can schedule it either to go out now or to go out later. Whoops. Let's see, I can schedule it. Let's see, schedule post. Oh, whoops, I scheduled it. It was that easy. I'm gonna need to take that off though. Need to remember to do that. Okay, this is gonna be a good way to see how we edit it once we post it. I have no idea. Drafts, live and scheduled posts. Anyway, I'll have to figure that out, how to remove it, because that's not what I want on there.
I think it went to December 7th. The schedule, yeah, there it is.
There we go, delete. And it's that easy. All right, so scheduling your posts are a really good idea, especially for the holiday season, to make your life easier. Another thing that we've talked about in some of the social media things is saying you need to be posting like 3 times a week. If you want to be top of mind for somebody, they need to see you regularly. For a lot of us, it's like, I'm too busy to do 3 days a week, or I'm not remembering to do it 3 days a week, or I don't even think about it 3 days a week. This is a really good way to get that done. You can go in every month and say, okay, in December, we have like World Kindness Day. We have obviously Christmas, maybe Rosh Hashanah. That's not in December, is it? I don't know. Clearly, I don't know these things. But take a look at a calendar and see what you can add in December, so that you don't have to be on all the time doing your social media constantly. You take half an hour to an hour, do all of your December ones in, you know, the last week of November, and then boom, you're done. So scheduling the social media posts are really easy to do through command. I really am liking this. Another thing, smart plans. So let me see. So in one of our, in one of the last, what am I trying to say? Hold on. No, I'm not going to say that. Let's go to email plan. Let's see, marketing day. Okay, so just a little look into my stuff. So I told you that I have, you know, like I'll tell people, hey, if you want this freebie, go and sign up here. And it's basically a Google form that captures their information, and then it leads them to a smart plan. So this is one of those smart plans I want to show you. Let's go to edit. So this is going to be like a market update. So the trigger is, thanks for signing up for market updates. Here is an email that I put him on. No, this is not one. this is an example of one. Yeah, no, this is not it. So they have an email that's on here that has a video saying, hey, thanks for signing up. And then it's their link to their freebie. And then also on the smart plan, I would have another smart plan that says, put them in the quarterly call plan. And then I would say, add them to, add a tag for that person. Maybe it's a create a task that I need to go and add that tag saying that they want market updates. So now when I get my reminder to create a market update, it automatically goes to these people who have this tag. So you can do this, the same kind of thing for holidays. For whatever downloadable you have, you can do the same kind of idea. So the idea is you add that trigger event, whatever that trigger event is, and then which is going to be a tag. So if you say holiday downloadable guide, great, you create that tag, and now every person who you put on that tag is automatically going to be put into this smart plan. This was not a great example, I know, sorry. But hopefully you get it. Oops. Now I want to show you in designs real quick. So I'm going to go to designs down here. Real quick, I'm going to show you a newsletter that I have. So in my newsletter, let's just choose this one. I have a few different things, and I've talked to a lot of you guys about newsletters. You've asked me about my newsletters before. Okay, maybe not. But what I always tell you is I have very little that I create myself. So I create this little blurb here saying, hey, hope you're enjoying your summer. We're seeing the market changing. Here's what it means for sellers. Here's what it means for buyers. It's always a good time to buy and sell. Who do you know who's looking to buy or sell? Forward this newsletter. I'd love to help them, or I tell them to reach out or whatever. Now, here are some of the thumbnails that I was talking about. So I create a thumbnail on Canva. It says read more because it's a clickable link. So if they click on here, it's going to take them to a whole different website. So again, think of this in holiday terms. So it doesn't even have to be. This is a monthly thing that I would do each month. So I might say, instead of this Ventura County Coast events, I might say holiday events in Ventura County Coast, or, you know, something that is specific to the holiday. So they know that that's what's coming. So if I go in, I'm going to edit this. So you can see I just replaced the image and then I put a new web address in. So then this is really all I'm changing. And in my normal newsletters, I have two things that are static, meaning I don't change them. That's this Ventura County Coast events. And then I have two things that change. This is going to be like something fun where it's like celebrities or, you know, some random crazy thing. And then I do some type of market. Where will you move if you sell your house today? So again, these are all links that I link outside of this. Then this one is the other static one. That's homes for sale near you. So this links them to my Keller Williams page. So they can go and based on their location, they can see what's for sale around them. They can click on stuff and check things out. And then they'll be directed back to me if they end up saying, oh yes, I want to look more at that. Okay, then because I do videos, I have some videos here. And then I have recent and pending sales. And then I have like ways for them to get hold of me. So it's super easy to add stuff. You just click and drag if you want to add an image, if you want to add a video, if you want to add all kinds of stuff. Super, super easy. So not going to go too much more into detail in that. I just wanted to point that out, that that's a super easy, helpful way for you to go in there and do that. Now, what I have done is I've gone in and I have basically taken one of their templates and made it my own. So I've adjusted it to be what I want it to be. So now anytime I need to go create a newsletter, I'm just making a copy of the last one I did. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I'm just saying, how do I change this to make it what I want? So keep that in mind, that when you go in, you may not see exactly what you want. You might not see exactly, you know, the newsletter that's perfect for you, but you can go in and use it as a jumping off point. So let's keep it going. All right, so we talked about that market of the moment, prospecting and marketing, building your database, command your holidays, and how do we win? What is important now? All right, those holiday cards, we talked about that. Now today, November, end of November, this is the best time to start collecting those addresses. So go in command, and there is a smart filter to say who doesn't have a neighborhood connected with them. And you can go in and look at those people and you can reach out to them and say, hey, I want to get your address so I can send you a holiday card. Everybody says yes to that. Everybody wants a holiday card. And so it's a super easy way and you want to take advantage of that. So make sure that you're reaching out to your SOI. Remember, when you do a holiday card, talk about real estate. Say, it doesn't have to be all about real estate, but one of the things that I do is I always say, hey, real estate's been going great. I'm loving it. This is the best thing ever, blah, blah, blah. And then number one, that's an advertisement because your name's on there. And you're talking about your real estate stuff. And number two, you're able to just put it in there to people who may not know or may not remember that you're in real estate. It's just a good reminder to say, oh, remember I'm in real estate. I'm loving it, doing great. But my whole thing is not about real estate. My whole thing is about like, hey, and I love to paddleboard and look at my puppy. He's so cute, all that kind of stuff. All right, these events. Events are going to be key right now because there are so many events that are going on that you can leverage. Now is the best time to be able to take these events and actually use them for something that's going to benefit you. So leverage events by becoming your local expert, raffle off items to grow your database. So doing those, doing those raffles to get them to give you your email address, their phone numbers, all of that kind of stuff. So I know a lot of us are saying, hey, I have a lot of people in my database, but most of them, I don't have their email addresses or their phone numbers or whatever. And remember, to put them on a neighborhood nurture, you need their email address at the very least. And to call them, you need their phone number. So we want to make sure that we have a full database. And then open houses. I put this in here because we want to make sure that we are working while others are not. Schedule as many open houses as you can. So what I've been telling people is take a look at your calendar right now, from now until the end of the year, and say, when am I going to be available to do open houses, and schedule that out. And then whether you have a listing or not, you say, okay, if I'm available on Saturday, next Saturday, then the Monday before that, I should be trying to schedule my open houses. I need to be trying to make sure that I get that scheduled for that following week, so that I can start doing all of my marketing, I can start doing my printing, I can start doing my lead gen, all of that kind of stuff around that open house. But schedule as many open houses as you can, because this is the time of year that nobody else is doing that. All right, and because you guys stuck around till the end, I have a little freebie for you. Here are some of my favorite resources that I actually use in my day-to-day business. I talk constantly about Canva, so you obviously know I use Canva a lot. I use it to design these kind of guides, like the downloadable guides, social media posts, cards, like your holiday cards. I did mine from Canva last year because it's just super easy and I know how to use it and I like it. So Canva is definitely one that I use. Command. I really, truly use Command every single day in my business. So I use it for email, for the social media scheduling, notes in my SOI. I really do use Command, and I use it at a fairly high level. And so when we talk about how to use Command and how to really make it work for you, you really can make it work. Like those tasks that Anthony was talking about, we really want to make sure to utilize Command at a high level, because number one, you're already paying for it. So it's basically free. You want to make sure that you're using what you have available to you. But number two, it's really robust. It really has a lot of great features that you would have to pay, 14 different companies, third-party services to get these same features. So use Command as much as you can. Local events pages to see what businesses are participating in and who might be open to collab. So going on to Facebook or going on to their events websites, or like the city event pages, what businesses are participating in those, so that you can tag team with them essentially, and don't reinvent the wheel. So when you have a business who's already doing this, you can say, hey, how about, you give me some swag, or you give me a gift card, or you give me a discount code or whatever, to be able to connect with them. Facebook events, it's still a great way to drive people to a meetup or an event. So if it's something you're already going to, like the holiday boat parade or a Christmas tree lighting, create an event on your own and say, hey, we're gonna meet up here and I'm gonna be giving out raffle tickets and that kind of thing. Create an event for yourself and use somebody else's event as leverage for that. Google Forms. So like I said, Google Forms for collecting contact info. Pro tip, use Zapier to create a smart plan for automation. We talked about that a little bit. This is actually something that I do, and it's actually something that has like changed my life. So it does require a little bit of tech savviness. So if you feel like that's not you, then don't worry about that piece of it. Just the Google Forms part is the piece that you want to use to make sure that you're getting those emails and getting that contact info in, and then make sure that you put it into command however you're able to do that. And then I always talk about this. I really like using Keeping Current Matters. They have up-to-date resources on the market and they come out, they have like 3 blog posts a week. So, you know, when things change really quickly, they really change with the times. So they have stuff on holidays. They have stuff about buying and selling right now. They have stuff that is an easy resource for me to send other people to. So like when I'm looking for stuff for my newsletters, Keeping Current Matters is usually the very first one that I go to. All right. Woo. So most of you are in coaching, but if you are not in coaching and you want to learn more, here is my contact info. I would love to talk to you. To talk more about doing one-on-one coaching or any other kind of different kind of group coaching and stuff like that. We will not be meeting next week because of Thanksgiving. So the following week, we're going to be talking about set your goals for a trouble-free 2023. So make sure you come to that. We'll talk about goal setting in command. We'll talk about what should your goals be, how to create your goals, all of that good stuff. So with that, it is like 4 o'clock on the dot. Thank you guys for coming.